What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Stacks Matt the Numbers. Wanted to do a quick update here on SoundHound AI, which apparently has recently used some of its cash. Financial figures undisclosed at the moment. However, I did mention the company's holding a decent amount of cash on hand, and I mentioned that this could potentially be used for small-time acquisitions of smaller or other micro-cap companies in the space where they're looking to potentially expand, or maybe they're looking to do share repurchase programs. And what did we see? We see that SoundHound AI has recently made a small-time acquisition. So SoundHound AI Incorporated, ticker symbol SOUN, listed here on the NASDAQ. Stock right now dropped down to just sub $4 today, $3.98, bounced back up to $4.01. I spoke multiple times about these trend lines. We can see we recently had a bounce third week of April, and now you can see the stock has been pulling back, consolidating down in this channel, and it looks like maybe like 394, 395 might be the low of the lows here in this current range. In my opinion, that is the level to watch. We also spoke about $3.99, $4, which is why, in my opinion, the stock dropped sub 4 and then immediately bounced back up. So that's a key level to watch. And of course, we have this trend line to watch as well. If we do happen to break, we could potentially see the fib of 375. We could potentially come back to where we initially gapped up here. It's looking like, yeah, maybe about like 312 or something. And of course, I also mentioned the potential gap fill down to 243, which is why I consistently wanted to update you all and show you a lot of these trend lines and a lot of key levels that I was watching. So unfortunately, again, if you really want to be a sniper, if you really want to be a shark and an animal in the water here when it comes to trading and investing, you sometimes you really do have to keep an eye on these, and you have to look for these exact points and see if we break, we have to wait patiently and then we can go in heavy. Or if we bounce, it's going to start climbing up. So maybe you want to add and catch the next wave higher. Of course, it's your money. It's entirely your own prerogative. This is just my opinion. It's not financial advice. But this is the trend line here. It looks like that the stock needs to hold. Let's look at what actually is going on. SoundHound AI says it acquired online food ordering marketplace Allset. Said Thursday it has acquired online food ordering marketplace Allset. Financial terms were not provided. I mean, I don't know much about the company, to be honest, Allset, but I don't know. I would assume probably like 5, 10, 20 million, maybe not much more than that. But the voice AI service provider said it expects to integrate its services into Allset's platform to support voice ordering from the platform's partner restaurants. So if I'm SoundHound, hypothetically, in my opinion, obviously this would need to be a growing company, which of course is, again, gaining more attention, having more eyes on it, more users are using it, and hopefully the actual revenue that they're generating, Allset, has been slowly climbing over the last couple of years. So SoundHound says, hey, you know what? Why don't we just step in, acquire this company? We can kind of marry our companies together, and we can make, both of what we bring to the table just that much more efficient, that much more better. So again, unfortunately, financial terms not disclosed, so we don't know exactly how much they paid, but yeah, that's basically the news coming out. Allset's team will be joining SoundHound AI. Okay, fantastic. The more minds, the better, right? That's what we always say. That's why I said, in my opinion, also I advise you guys to join the Discord. Discord link in the description of every video, free for you guys to join. You come in, you're thinking, oh, I'm about to buy ABC stock. Hey, listen, mention it in the Discord. See what everyone else thinks about it. See, maybe someone might see something you don't know. They might have read something you weren't aware of. And for all we know, you might be able to save yourself, 10% before getting in too early, or, whatever. I'm sure you appreciate what I'm saying. Acquisition will enable customers to use voice AI to order food from vehicles, phones, and smart devices. We know that, of course, is a big level of convenience for ordering and eating. And we know that looking at, Uber Eats, DoorDash, these companies, we know that the revenue is there because, of course, if people can afford it, people will continue to be lazy, sit in their houses, sit in their offices, and just, let's just order something. And these companies are benefiting greatly off of that convenience. Fast track its vision of a voice commerce ecosystem. Of course, for all we know, over the next, 6, 8 months, they can completely transform this into, a massive money maker, or, they can increase the existing Allset business by, who knows, 50%, 100% in value, right? So only time will tell. But I would give them the benefit of the doubt because again, they recently freed up their debt. If you recall, they're holding a decent amount of cash on hand. So I think that being that happened recently, and in my opinion, now for them to kind of write the check to acquire Allset, I would have to assume they see value there and they feel that they can make X millions, whatever they spent, they can probably make it back quickly, I would hope. But yeah, I just wanted to show you again, we've been channeling down here in this little consolidation channel we spoke about last time. I was watching this yellow trend line. You can see obviously we broke below it. Then I was watching this bottom purple trend line here of this range. And now you can see we're bouncing around kind of all of these key levels here and all of these trend lines here. So again, kind of hard to make the call because we do know there's a lot of eyes on it. We know everyone knows that NVIDIA now has a small investment in SoundHound. So we could very well see a bounce off of this line and head back up to around 5.5. But also at the same time, the fact that the stock went on a big run, a lot of people started to take profits here. Everyone's kind of wait and see. Plus, we don't know exactly how much the company just spent for Allset. So because they technically had money outgoing on the acquisition, if we break the trend line and start to pull back, I would actually understand that as well. So unfortunately, you could kind of make the argument for the stock to go either way. But like we always say, if we like it here at 5, if we like it here at 4, and then we break down to, low 3s or like 280, I mean, technically you should like it even more, right? And even shout out to Big Lou over there at a CT. But Big Lou mentioned in the Discord, he said, man, if this thing drops down back to 250 and fills that gap, I might go all in. So big respect to Big Lou there at a CT. But again, only time will tell. But this is what I mean, right? If you're interested in SoundHound, what do? Like we always say, we find a list of companies that we like, we develop a hit list, we keep an eye on them, and then boom, all of a sudden they start selling off, people forget about it, and it drops back like almost to where it started. That's when you strike. That's when you buy shares, accumulate shares, build a position, and wait for the longer term. In my opinion, that's the way I would personally play it. But again, this is not financial advice. Whatever you do with this information is entirely your own prerogative. Let's switch over to stock charts real quick before I let you go. We can see now on the daily, our RSI is down here to 33.5. We just had a support level of 414, which we broke below. And again, we have to see this. To see we're slightly making these higher lows in the moment. And again, that is this purple trend line here, which you're looking at about 395, right? Which is why I'm saying we could make a strong case to bounce and go back up off that level. However, if we break that line, we might see sub 3.5, and we might pull back to where we started on the initial gap up. We could retest the 200-day. We could just drop down here to about 3.25 support level and then have a bounce. So we have to see. But the MACD has been slightly just pulling back and dropping down on the daily. The stock was really fighting to hold that 50-day moving average. But again, it technically did go on a big run. So this is why I kept mentioning where we could pull back to. I mentioned the gap fill. Because again, as much as we don't want to see it, we know it could happen. And we have to be prepared for this, right? But we'll see how it reacts. On the weekly, we can see RSI basically middle of the road here. It's about a 48 1/3 right now. We also have the 50-day moving average, 323, right? So like that 3.25, 330 range, that might be a key range that the stock pulls back to before it bounces and goes higher. But MACD just kind of slowly pulling back as well since that big pop-up. Let's check the Bollinger Bands real quick. I'll let you go. But I did want to do a quick update just to point out again some of those trend lines and update you guys on that news if you weren't aware of it. But we can see, yeah, it was fighting for the mid-Bollinger Band. We had the rejection there, and now we're pulling back. So we do have to see first this trend line around 395. Then we also have to see this fib level at about 375. And then we have to start looking at our moving averages on the daily and on the weekly. Let's switch back here to daily real quick. We can see, yeah, see now we're starting to trumpet because we're breaking below the bottom Bollinger Band. So we have to see if we bounce here at around 395 and start heading back up, or if we break down again to the low threes. But that's excuse me, that's pretty much it for SoundHound. We have, what time is it? It's almost 2 o'clock. We got 17.25 million shares trading today. Average volume about 23.5 million shares. So we may potentially see higher than average volume here by market close. And the company, again, bringing in revenue. They made a small acquisition, right? They were signing deals with a lot of fast food places. So, about $1 billion and change market cap for the company, in my opinion, potentially fair valued. But again, we know that we can easily bring this down to, 900 million, 1.05 billion, and it would potentially still be fair valued, right? So this is why I'm saying we could potentially start to see a drop down to the low threes or potentially sub 3, and it could be viewed as justified by a lot of analysts and fund managers on Wall Street. So you may see a little short-term volatility here, but long-term we know. Right? I mean, again, we can't say that. Nothing is guaranteed. Anything can happen. Company could go out of business. Stock could go to zero. Please understand the risks involved. But in my eyes, I see the growth here. And again, revenue up year over year, quarter over quarter for the most part. And we'll check the forecast again real quick. And we can see we have 6 analysts currently covering this situation, 5 giving it a strong buy, 1 giving it a hold. Average price target $7.75. Stock right now $4 a share. Lowest price target 5, which is 25% higher than current stock price. Highest price target 9.5, which is basically where the stock went up there. Got above 10 for a little while. And then obviously everyone woke up and said, holy crap, it's at 10. And they took profits, which of course I can understand. But we can see more times than not, we're coming in above revenue expectations. We're expecting to consistently keep climbing those numbers up for the next couple of quarters. And of course, over the next year or two, we're expecting big jumps up in revenue. So, yeah, I mean, right now, of course, the EPS slightly coming in below estimates the last couple of quarters. But again, more times than not, they're coming in above expectations. And of course, slightly forecasting bigger and better things, talking about new clients, tapping them. And again, they had the voice AI assistant working with NVIDIA, right, in the automobiles. So now whether you have network connection or even no network connection, you can tap into the voice AI assistant for, emergencies or information, whatever you might need. And obviously, in my eyes, something like that, it could really only be viewed as a positive. I really don't view it as a negative. And we speak about these companies in their states of infancy, right? Look at something like Palantir. Palantir was operating at a loss. And then what happened? Stock was down at like 770. It was in that long-term descending wedge that we spoke about. And then what happened? They reported earnings, they beat estimates, but also they finally turned the corner and went net income positive. And what happened? The stock absolutely exploded. So that's why I'm saying sometimes it takes time for these companies to go from the red to the black. But when it happens, it completely changes the narrative on Wall Street when they look at the stock. I'm telling you right now. But that's pretty much it. So I'm going to end it there. Once again, this is Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually pretty quick to reply. Thumbs up algorithm, right? Helps me get more eyes on the channel. And of course, subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. That is how you help me help you. But more importantly, moving forward, like I always say, I understand that markets are rocky, they're volatile, they're very uncertain. So I do want to wish all of you success. I hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thanks for your time. Have a good day.